someone has taken the eye off the ball and dropped it, that's what he will take as a representation of that wool. So they've got to be on their A game right from the beginning of the day, Tuma, right through to the end with every single fleece, of course.
Yes, you're dead right, Gerald. Okay, another fleece about to hit the table. These wool handlers, get a wriggle on, girl, get back to the table. Here we go. Oh, you can really see the skill upgrade here from the novice to the junior. So these juniors have probably done 2 seasons in the wool shed. Young Flutie down there on table number 4. She must have had a bit bigger fleece. Took her a little bit longer to skirt. That's a lovely throw. So what these wool handlers want to do is they want to skirt half the fleece, try and get the neck wool before the belly comes out, and get back to the shearer, Gerald.
Yeah, under the watchful eye, of course, of however many people here, and I see a school arriving, so a big welcome to you guys. I always love to see that here at the Masterton. The support that the local township gives is just phenomenal. And of course, I'm under the watchful eye of these judges, and you'll see them swapping to make sure it's as even as possibly in case someone has a slightly different perspective on something than the other judge. So they'll swap round and round and round to keep it as even as they possibly can from that way, along with all the courses that the judges go to. Once again, they're all volunteers, ladies and gentlemen. 5 volunteers per competitor to make this show run. But we're here for them, and that's how it rolls. We enjoy it. We have good reason to be here. So it's the roll. Jason Cohey says, okay, done that. Table's clear. A little bit of wool hanging on the table. It'll be quite wise to get rid of that before the next one goes on. So there's all these little wee intricate little bits. Meanwhile, on the floor, of course, you can see here now that we've dealt with a few more fleeces, we've got all these more and more of these fluffy bits and these little second bits getting around the place. It's about now they're going to start thinking about the tidy up job as the shearers are done. This is what they do 8 or 9 hours a day, ladies and gentlemen. A big throw here on table 1. Edmonds on 2. Sort of rolls it out and is successful with it. Oh, they're reaching right over. Now they're back to the table. Oh, there's going to be some real broom work in a wee minute here, Tuma.
Yes, you're dead right, Gerald. 1 minute 30 seconds from when the shearer pulls the cord. These wool handlers have to process that fleece. It's a lot of wool to come out up the top of the table, but that's what it's all about. It's about these wool handlers making decisions on how to increase the return to the farmer. And it's that snap value, you know, you don't have time, 5 or 10 seconds to think about it. It's a look, it's an instinct thing, Gerald.
Yeah, dead right. Yeah, you can't second guess it. You just got to let it come natural, really. You start overthinking it. It doesn't go too well. You've got to back yourself. And now it's broom time. Table 1. Here we go. Flicks it up. These brooms have a swivel on the end, ladies and gentlemen. It just doesn't stay there. If I grab a lay person out of the audience right now, it'll be upside down in all sorts of places. Okay, but they know how to shift the weight and have it right. They use the ear, swoop. They use the broom. It's all go. They know there's only a certain amount of spots. They didn't come from all ends of the globe to come here to make the numbers up, folks. It's their A game. Come on, let's get them behind them. Let's have a little bit of a razzle-dazzle. Let's build some momentum and some atmosphere here. Onto the broom they dive. A bit of a shakedown here. Edmonds, she's into the seconds. Shake of the table, going to clear the table. Hand in the air. Oh, they're starting to heat up here, Tuma. Finishing touches for table. Edmonds says, I've done that. 2 hands in the air. It's not a high 5, it's a high 10, and there's a high 5 down the bottom there.
Next team, if they could go up once the wall has been taken away. Naomi Boyce, Jess Stewart, Joseph Gordon, Kiara Russo.
Okay, wool handlers, once the board has been judged, you are allowed to get up on the board, but you're not to get up there before the judge has finished judging. Oh, she's a big jump up in skill level, Gerald. These young juniors, they have brought their A game.
Yeah, you're right. It's great to have them here because of why are the 5 volunteers here? Well, it's to improve the industry as a whole. So this quantifies it for them of how are they going on, on the board. That's around the table area. What's their end product? Are they doing that well? Okay. So yeah, they can get a really good feedback. All these judges are very experienced wool handlers themselves, and they help them as much as they can. After when they're having, cookies and cups of tea and the likes. So it's great to see them here, and it's an absolute pleasure. I know Tim will be the same as me when you're commentating at shows, and there's huge entries in the novice and junior areas of the shearing and wool handling. Because that's the future. Still a lot of sheep to be shorn in New Zealand and a lot of sheep to be shorn around the world.
Wool handlers, you are to stay on the board until all wool handlers are finished. Okay, and that's a sign of comradeship, whatever that is. No, it means you all get up there as a team. So we work as a team in the wool sheds, and up here you're like a team as well. You don't leave any team member behind.
Keep 3 if they complete and ready after this heat. Natasha Edmonds ready, Years Rotu, Victormai Harrison and Catherine Maloney. If you 4 competitors, please be ready following this heat. Thanks.
So Rural Women New Zealand is a charitable membership-based organisation which has been an integral part of the rural landscape for nearly a century. Oh. There must be some old rural New Zealand women around, Gerald. And there are Rural Women New Zealand members nationwide. Wonderful. We have the green lights. Shearers to the board. Timekeepers ready. Shearers, get set, go. Thank you very much, junior wool handlers. You guys are doing well to keep organised and get up there and get yourselves ready. So we have 9 baskets around these wool handlers. We have frib wool, belly wool, sock wool, short wool, first pieces, necks, fleece wool, dags, Gerald.
Dags.
That's been a bit of an issue, this main shed, dags.
Is that right? Oh, yeah. Yeah, the dags, not ideal at all. Probably okay. You might get away with it up here as far as the shed stain goes, when I spoke earlier about that. But as far as the shearers go, sometimes they may, what do you call that? You negotiate with the farmer to say, hey, we've got to take this 15% of these animals have dags, and we've got to take that off. But we'd, maybe would like a bit more payment. And of course, the wool handlers have to make sure they get it out. We don't want any dags in the wool. That doesn't go down too well. So forth and so forth. I don't know if it still rolls like that. I've been out of the shearing game as far as bending my back a lot of years. But once upon a time, we sort of just come to a real good old friendly, whatever you want to call it. Conclusion might be the word. That's what we'll stick with at the moment. It's a bit like camaraderie, isn't it? So the shearers are up and over the last shoulder and as synchronised as they should be to make it as fair as they possibly can. A big thank you to the resident shearers because, they're giving up their time to shear some sheep here to help these wool handlers and, of course, help the committee here at the shears. So here we go. Boyce is going to be the first one to hit this table on the front stand. Then we got Stewart. Who's going to go for the good one? Boyce gives it plenty of air time from out the side. She took to the side of the table and sort of flicked it, give it air time. You'll see some will roll it out depending on what they think, and others may give it ear time, okay, but like a basketball game, they'll flick it. And it worked okay, I think, here, Tuma on one, that down the side of the table and the wee flick.
Yes, Naomi here on table number 1. She would have had the best throw there. It's a bit of a confidence boost too when you throw a good fleece and it hits nicely and you're like, thank you. There's nothing worse than going to throw a fleece, the neck gets caught at the bottom of the table and you throw it and you're like, oh heck, you just want to hide away. But these wool handlers, this is their second season, a lot of them in the wool sheds, some of them a little bit more than that. So they are well skilled enough to deal with the situation that's at hand. And I'm just watching this, Naomi, she She's skirting away, has a quick look at her shearer, gets back to her business. And you can see that she doesn't hold too much wool in her hands. Some of these competitors, when they're skirting, they seem to hold a lot of wool in their hands, and you can actually end up over-skirting that way, Gerald. So you're better off to, keep trying to get rid of that wool. Joseph Gordon down there on table number 3. He's had quite a commanding lead down there. Time-wise, that gives him a little bit more time to really organise that fleece. So it'll land lovely, Gerald.
Yeah, well, he may be one of the having a good run at this here, junior, of course, but also probably the triathlon. I know him and his brother are having a good run in the pressing here last year. He gives it a fair bit of muscle there. Had some porridge this morning by Jolly. There's the flick I talked about on table 2 from Stuart. The turn, the shearer's coming out for whatever reason. I couldn't get it on the line. It's going to have to go, and just flicked it at the table from a distance. It works well when you get what's known as a cot. A cot is wool that's sort of like a tight little mat, okay? But you'll notice these fleeces are nice and open, okay? They take a lot of handling. You've got to get them just nicely. You give it too much airtime and she'll start opening up on you. Here they go, once again back to the shearers. Oh, they've got a bit of a run on. Oh, and the broom's on the board. Once upon a time, they would have bounced up on the board, okay, up on the raised board and down and up. They would jump, but that's sort of taken out for the safety first these days, and they must stay down on the floor and reach over either with their sweeper, okay, the sweeper. We talked about the broom earlier, but they normally have a board with them, a sweeper board, and you'll see it on stand 2 or table 2. Jess Stewart from Masterton. There's a local girl, ladies and gentlemen. She's working up a bit of colour in her face and a little bit of perspiration there on the forehead. Round to the head wool she comes, getting her out, heavily stained wool out of there. It's got to come out. And Toomer's just shown me a bit of paper here, and we've got Masterton all the way. So we should have a real razzle-dazzle here. We should have some noise happening. All local guys and girls up here, ladies and gentlemen. So come on, let's have some noise for them. Not today, not yet, Gerald. We're too intense. We're mesmerised by their work, and I totally agree with you. Nothing like watching people at this level working away. The backbone of New Zealand, the wool industry. Here we go, the last and final throws this will be. Oh, Toomer, they're hitting these tables okay, aren't they? They're not easy fleeces to handle. They're quite open and a lot of weight in them, I'd say.
Well, the best table would have, the best throw would have to go to Joseph Gordon on table number 3. The steward here on table number 2, I've noticed every throw, Gerald, she's ended up with that front leg over on the right-hand side, coming over. So obviously she's not quite throwing the fleece square. This side of the fleece is looking good. So if she can just nail it straight down the middle, the judges wouldn't really have a lot to ping her for. So it's an A4 sheet of paper. Anything that's hanging over the size of an A4 sheet of paper is a point. So she probably lost 4 points just on that overhang there. This girl, Naomi Boyce, here on table number 1. She looks like she's going very well. We're watching the way she skirts. Nice, tight, compact roll. Wool handlers, you do need a nice, tight, compact roll. Okay, we got 3 wool handlers here. See how Naomi had to walk right around her table? You know, she should have maybe put her fadge on the other side, Gerald. Save her walking around. But here we go, broom in hand. Now she's got to walk around to get her broom. But these are just little things that you learn as, you know, the more experience that you get, you learn, you know, where's the right place to put your broom, where everyone else puts theirs might not suit you. So these are things that you learn as you compete. Down there on table number 4, Tiara, she's got her broom in hand now. The young boy Gordon, he's shaking out, you know, the longer bits away from the second cuts and stuff, because they go through. There we go, time for Stuart, time for Gordon. Naomi, she's not far away from finishing as well. Gives it a little shake those second cuts out. Well done, Naomi. You did very well. Tiara, finishing touches from her, and we'll have the next heat up on the board, Nikki.
Junior Woolhandling, heat 3, Natasha Edmonds. Once the wool is been taken away, you can have the whole up and get your tables ready. Team 4, Crystal McGregor, Emily Wanderer, Warren, Emma Martin, and Jacinda Kennedy Stead. They could be ready straight after this week, please. That's Team 4.
Rural Women New Zealand offers support, friendship and learning opportunities to rural women. It also provides an authoritative voice in a wide range of issues affecting rural women and their families, including health services, education, social issues and the rural environment. It also offers scholarships and bursaries to assist rural students access education opportunities. Wool handlers, there is some of these fleeces with rattle. We had a big issue with the rattle this year in the main shear. All the rattle needs to come out. So when you've thrown that fleece, just cast your eye over the back of it, or even when the shear is shearing on the belly, sometimes you can see it. So just keep an eye out for rattle, competitors. Okay, we have the green light. Can we have our shearers to the board? Shearers to the board. Timekeepers ready. Competitors only on the board, thank you. Shearers, get set, go. Well, we are pushing these wool handlers a little bit, but we've got a huge schedule to get through, Gerald. And we're on a very, very fine timeline. But we have Natasha Edmonds-Lady from Masterton. Diaz Rotu, Pahiatua, just up the road. Letamai Harrison, Hastings. Catherine Maluli, is that the one that's on that She Shares program, Gerald?
Could be that too. Matawai, she's from. So here we go. Like any show, you're only as good as your last one, and your reputation doesn't put you in the top podium spot before you arrive here. You've got to bring it on game day, as if to say. And these are the big moments. This is what your man Richie McCaw would call critical moments. You've done all your season, you've worked hard, you've asked a lot of questions, as you said, you've thought about it in your sleep, that when you make the Golden Shears, these are the things I need to do well, okay? And got to breathe your way through, you've got to stay calm. They would have been all fired up before they stepped up there. We're only bystanders, and I was getting all fired up an hour before we arrived, so the tension was in the air when I arrived here. So here they go. They're going to have their first throw. And as you mentioned earlier, this can be a real confidence boost if they can nail this one. Diaz says, all right, we'll get that bit of loose wool out. We can't do any skirting on the board, but we'll get that sorted. Here we go. Natasha. Oh, that one leg wants to fly over the side, and the judge has a good look at it.
Okay, the sheep number 2 is on the board. The wool handlers working away on the fleece. So you can see these wool handlers, they get to the area closest to the crowd and they are looking for the neck wool. Okay, and they'll walk down and you'll see them, they'll flick the fleece over. And what they're doing is they're looking for any other faults that could be there. There might be a bit of skin or something there. And when they flick that wool over, it just opens it up. And this also allows them, it starts setting them up for the roll at the end. So shearers, just stepping up the neck, the wool handlers, they'll grab that cheek wool, get back to the fleece, and start skirting the second half of the fleece. You'll see a little bit later on in the senior and the open class, you'll see different strategies. The taller wool handlers will actually just stay on one side of the table and pull the wool over to them. Kevin Applin, can we have you to the microphone desk, Kevin Applin? So these shearers are about to turn to the last side. The wool handlers need to have a look, grab that cheek wool, don't let it touch the fleece. Deemed it as contamination, you'll see a little smile come upon the judges' faces. So down the last side work these shearers. Come on, wool handlers, you need to pull your finger out, get a wriggle on, because this is how it rolls in the wool sheds, ladies and gentlemen. The shearer will not stop for you. You need to get a wriggle on, Gerald.
Yeah, there they go. They've got a bit of a run on, all right. Harrison from Hastings, she said, I've got to get back to that board. So does Maluli. She says, I'll sweep that. That board's got to be cleaned for the old shearer, and the fleece is sitting in the way in a shed situation. He sticks his heels in it and says, all away. And a bit of a grumpy old voice as if to say, come on, girls, get the wriggle on. Or guys, whoever's up there at the time. Okay, so we've discussed just what they're doing up here with all their wool, and I get the call because the committee here at the Golden Shears are very workable, and they want the crowd, all you good folk, to experience as much as you can, and just in case you're only here for one day and you're passing through. So John Hodder at the moment is just organising a pressing demonstration, okay? So there can be a pressing demonstration. All right, so we might do that when we've finished all this wool handling. I'll get the call, but if you want to hang around for that, please do so. It won't be the competition. That's all day tomorrow, and the big one on the Friday night, of course, the men's finals. But yeah, if you're only here for today, we're going to do some pressing, just so you can see what happens to the wool from here in a wool shed. It'll be in the press, approximately 40 bales of this, okay, 200 kgs. 5 kgs of fleece, maybe greater, maybe 35 fleeces to the bale. Then the bale will be trucked away, of course, to the wool store. That's when the sampling happens. That's when it ends up in the cardboard box. That's when the buyer arrives and says, yes, I have just the product I want to make out of that wool. It's got a micron of X, a colour of such and such, and that suits me down to the ground, and he starts bidding on that stuff. So we're going to have that very soon too. Meanwhile, they're still working away, and of course you're watching and listening at the same time. Everyone's multitasking here today as we have a little round of applause for a certain throw there. Way to work they go. Look, we've got one on the board. The bottom stand there, Maluli saying, holy smoke, I see what you mean, Mr. Commentator. The shearers are putting the acid on, all right. It's the real deal. She does a good one. Now she's got the board clear. Still got a few bits and pieces to tidy up to her here on stand one. Got to get back to the board once she's finished that table.
Oh, this is the junior class, Gerald, and these wool handlers, they will be freaking out a little bit. But, you know, they should be able to block the crowd out, you know, and just concentrate as if they're at work. But here we go. Brim in hand there from Diaz, from Pahiatua. Who knows Diaz here? Does Diaz not know anybody? Come on, make a little bit of noise for these wool handlers. Natasha, she's got the brim in hand. Hey, Captain Maluli, she caught up a lot. She kind of had a lot of work to do on that fleece because she was miles behind. They have 1 minute and 30 seconds for the juniors, and then after that, I think it's 1 point per 5 seconds. So you do not want to be too far behind in time points, because the time points, they can really hurt you. But looking down the board, all of these wool handlers have got brim in hand, Gerald. See that wool handler there on table number 2, lifts it up, no worries. That's how we roll in Pahiatua. But there we go, time. Time for it, Tamai. Get out of it, Catherine. Don't you try those tricks. So Natasha down here on table number 1. Very quality conscious looking lady by the looks of it. You can lose a lot of points out the back, Gerald, so often it does pay to... Did you put your hand up? There we go. Well done. Make sure you put your hands up, competitors, high so the timekeeper can see it. Okay, Nikki, who's in our next heat?
Heat 4, Crystal McGregor, Emily Warrender, Emma Martin, Jacinda Kennedy, Steph Hayes. On that heat, we have Adam Gordon and Canal Tiffany Brown and Clinton Palmer. That will be 5. We've got a lot of heats to get through this afternoon, so if you can just get up there as soon as the wall's away and it's judged, and we'll keep moving.
As soon as we get the green light, competitors, we will be firing into it. Once again, we'd like to thank our shearers. Thank you, shearers, for getting up there and shearing for us. You guys are doing a great job.
Oh, we've got someone from Gore. Emma Martin, all the way from Gore. So she's travelled a wee way to be here. Great to see her here. Good luck, Emma.
The Golden Shears and some top computers and Latin players. It sounds romantic. I must admit when we hear that in children and Shearing Woolhandling all around the world, and this is the front world.
Welcome back. So we're getting through these novice wool handling heats, and with us here at the moment we've got Philip Morrison. Now Philip and I actually go way back. We competed, didn't we, Philip, in the Young Farmers 100 years ago?
That is true, that is true. It does seem a long time ago.
It is a long time ago, and since then Philip has been president, and now are you still the chief referee?
No, I've given that job away.
Okay, so what's your role now?
Just a past president and becoming a has-been.
Never a has-been. Philip runs around busy as ever, and he and his wife Anna Morrison continue to put a big effort into the Golden Shears. So Philip, the planning for the 60th has been for quite some time now. Talk us through some of that.
Well, look, it generally starts, the planning for the next year's competition starts as soon as we finish this one, but yeah, we all have a debrief in the next month or so with the committee, and a lot of notes come out of that. But these days it's sort of run of the mill where, you know, everything takes their place over a certain time, even just dealing with or corresponding with our sponsors. That's very important, and look, we have so many on board now. It's a pleasure to deal with them.
Yeah, no, I see that, and if you have a chance to roll through the Golden Shears website, you'll see who the sponsors are and where the support comes from. But Philip, we're into Heat 4 of Heat 7 of the Novice Woolhandling, the Junior Woolhandling. So this is Rural Women New Zealand who sponsor this grade, and they've been great sponsors though, haven't they?
Look, Rural Women came into the stadium just 2 years ago it was, and couldn't believe what they saw, and that happens with a lot of our local even farmers. New sponsors. They sat in the audience one evening, and just were absolutely amazed with what they saw, and just came on board without any questions at all. And they just loved being here, loved the atmosphere, and of course being involved with competition that's taken place in the wool sheds all around New Zealand. They just love the rural scene part of it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And Philip, I've just been watching some of those throws from those junior competitors. There's some pretty good throwing going on down on that stage. It's a fierce competition, so maybe we should get back and allow the family and friends to be watching those that they've signed in to watch. But don't forget, YouTube goldenshears.co.nz, and go on to the 360, because then you can see the full scope of the stadium and what's going on. Thank you, Toby.
On Emily, on table 2. Forward it goes to the shearer, can step up and around, and it doesn't get tangled up around his moccasin. Okay, part of the shearing gear, a moccasin. You think that's unusual footwear? And you'll notice they've got little leather moccasins on. That gives them a full awareness, or a pretty good awareness of where their feet is on the sheep. The odd time you'll see shearers shearing bare feet. Not that often, but of course then you've got a real good sense of where you are. But these are little wee leather mocks for health and safety and the likes, and that's what they do. So table 1 clear as Crystal runs back to her to get the next fleece organised for another super throw.
Well, just watching these wool handlers, Gerald, you can see the ones that, are very, very organised. They have their little fadges in the right place. Their baskets, you can see them when they are skirting little bits out. They're not really having to look to where they are throwing. Oh, that's a pretty good throw on table number 2. A little bit overhang. Holy Crystal. So this is what happens. A little bit of pressure has come on, ladies and gentlemen. They've done the first fleece. They were feeling pretty good. And now, they start, the pressure really starts hitting them. And now, that's why all of those young wool handlers up there, they all sort of had some sort of mistake up there where they're overthrown it. Or they kind of haven't thrown the fleece straight, and they've ended up with overhang on the side. Anything the size of an A4 sheet of paper, that is a penalty point. So the shearers, they've cleaned up the undermine, taken the top knot off, up the neck they go.
Yeah, so that pressing I mentioned earlier, it's a demonstration just for you good folk who have come along for this extra half day. We're doing our program so full. We've got this extra half day on. That's not a problem. We're here to cater for all you great sportswomen and sportsmen. So we're going to do this wee demonstration, and we're going to do that in about 20 minutes' time. So if you've got 20 minutes up your sleeve, we'll see if we can just run it in conjunction with a bit of junior shearing or a bit of this wool handling here.
We have the novice wool handling semi-finalists. Top qualifier, Laura Bradley, Shania Hema, Michael Buick, Grace Tiati, Shantae Walker, Megan Gowans, Lucy Neverman, and our young German friend, Robin Kraus. So those are the semi-finalists. Well done, you young competitors. You'll be on later on this afternoon. So here we go. Who's absorbing the pressure the most? Up there on, not a bad throw on table number 2. A little bit of bunching. Oh, it's a little bit of overhang there. I didn't see that. So probably table number 3. So 1 minute 30 seconds is the sealed time. So you wool handlers, you do need to get a wriggle on. And this is where that organisation comes in, Jill. Where are their baskets? They're handy. This wool handler here on table number 1, she should finish skirting on this side because that's where her fadge is set up for her fleece. And the handle of her broom is on this side as well. So if you're looking up to the stage, that'll be stage left. See, everything's on here for her to move forward.
Yeah, that's right, Tim. It's a matter of adjusting to all those different aspects of yourself. Okay, your height and right-handed, left-handed, all those sorts of different things. What works for you as they shake the table. That table's got to be cleared. Here we go. Crystal says it's going to be super clean. Onto the broom she goes. She's got one of those telescopic ones. The ones that get really cold on a frosty morning, you got to wear your little mittens to keep your hands warm as you're working away on a cold, crutching day down on the deep south. A real frosty old day. But here they go. They're in the heat of the township of Masterton right now, in the heat of the bright lights of the Golden Shears here, folks. Look at them go. They're working away. All the brooms are starting to rattle. We're going to have the press rattling in a couple of minutes too, ladies and gentlemen, and possibly going to bring that forward. We don't want you missing out there. It's going to be wee shakedown time. This is when they're going to have to sort that wool up. Oh, look. We just need to be steady on the commentary that we're in the heats and we're starting to get wound up ourselves. There we go, hand in the air, down in the bottom stand. Oh, they're all getting tidied up. Emma says, oh, it's been a long trip. It's been planes, trains and automobiles, and I've done my best thing there.
Okay, heat 5, junior Woolhandling. Adam Gordon and Canal, Tiffany Brown and Linton Carr. It's heat 5. So once again, once the wool has been taken away and everything judged, you'd like to hop up there and get your tables ready. Heat 6, Michaela Reihana, Dee Langland, Shyla Kanakiana and Vinnie Phillips. If you four could be ready following this next heat, please.
Rural Woolman New Zealand are the sponsor of this event. Thank you very much to the Rural Woman New Zealand. So we're just waiting on some baskets to come out from the wool room. I think the judges out there will be getting a bit wooled up by now down there. We're going through very, very well competitors. We're keeping the pressure on and you guys are keeping up. Well done, guys.
All right, just while waiting on the green light, we are going to do this pressing demonstration, okay? If you've got a ticket for tomorrow, we'll have pressing all day right here, okay? From the novice to the men's singles, to the ladies' singles, to pairs, to men's pairs, okay?
Okay, could we have the novice shearing competitors please come up to the announcer's desk and report in? The novice shearing, there's quite a few of you, so we need to get you all reported in, please. Novice shearing.
We have a green light. Can we have our shearers to the board? Okay, green light. Timekeepers ready. Shearers, get set, go. Okay, we have young Adam Gordon. He's a local boy. Table number 1. I think he won the novice Woolhandling last year. I remember presenting him with the red ribbon, the Powai Mullen sponsored novice. So that's the young man there on table number 1. Table 2, Anne Cannell from Gisborne. Table 3, we have Te Whetū Brown, Wairarapa. And on table 4, there's no only 4 tables, cut it out. And on table number 4 from Dipton, Linton Palmer. So as I understand it, on table 4, Linton is a shearing contractor. Sorry, Gerald, back to you.
Oh, you're all good. No problem, Tuma. Hey, yeah, we're going to this demonstration. I have Raymond Tuman King. He is our novice champion from last year, mate. I know everyone's keen. Let's just put a veil down in demonstration. Okay, me and Tuma have discussed all the ins and outs of what happens to the wool. Okay, in a sheep shearing environment with second shear, Not so much that full wool, that's 12 months worth of wool. This is probably more 8 to 6 months, okay? We make a big pile of it like this. We do that for a reason, because we want to blend the shorter bits with the longer bits, okay? Once again, the buyer only sees a sample when he's going to buy the wool. The man from China maybe, okay? So this is what happens. Then it's time for a bale. It's time for a bale, and that's what we're going to see right here. So we've got the press, and we're trying to get around 200 kgs. Now 200 kgs is an important sort of mark, because anything over that you can get docked for overweight bales at the wool store. Okay, fine, a penalty. All right. Anything under, you know, a 160 or 150, you get a spongy old bale. All right, and more packs for the farmer to buy, more cartage to the wool store that he's going to pay, all those sorts of things. So just butt in and Tuma if you want to do some up there, mate. So we're on to a capless press here, a capless pack, sorry. Okay, there's no cap, it comes with it, all right? Once upon a time, there was a cap that had its separate top, and they would sew it all together with some string, okay, sew it together. But that string, over a period of time, become a contaminant of itself. So if the baling twine ended up in the wool, it was a contaminant. So the latest, of course, is the capless, and it gets stapled together, okay? Staples are metal, ladies and gentlemen. They put the wool under a magnet, staples, bang, 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 gotcha, okay? No contamination of any sort. So here we go. So this is what a presser does. They have a really, really busy day. Probably some of the busiest people or busiest person in the wool shed. His jobs are, he's the presser, that's his name, yep, he presses. He's also got to cook the food, he's got to get the frying pan on, the kettle, the sandwiches out, all those sorts of things. Also, he's got to pen up. The shearer comes out, the pen's empty, they pulls the sheep out, sheepo! The presser's got to stop what he's doing, fill the pens up with the old hunt away, oof, 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 get them all filled up, get back down, start pressing. Meanwhile, the 4 shearers are still shearing. There's still more wool arriving. You've got to be fit and healthy and want a big challenge every day. So here we go. We've got 2 pressers working in tandem. Very unusual thing about wool is it's springy. Is it springy?
Yep,
Does it suck the energy out of your thighs?
sure does.
You wouldn't believe if you've ever run up loose sand dunes, you know, big sand dune, you can run up it like you're doing some rugby training. That's what it's like when it burns your legs. Really hard work pressing the wool, okay? So they're going to fill both sides, and that's half each. This is known as the bottom box now, and this is the top, and you'll find out why soon. So they've got to fill it up. They're going, here we go, so you're going to do a light one, boss? Okay, no problem, we're not going for 200. Okay, so the cap goes on. Remember the cap is, or the sides are here, the wool's in. They have it tied up because they've got to keep it nice and tidy. When they get judged tomorrow, folks, because there's lots on tomorrow, they will be judged on this tidiness. See the stuff I'm kicking around? They'll be judged on that because that would be known as a bit of a safety hazard. All right, so the box has got to come up. That itself takes a great art and a lot of strength. The art is to wind the box up without it starting this. When it starts that, it starts hitting against the centre pole, and it is really hard to wind up. You've got to have to wind up really quickly, but hold it steady at the same time. All right, so there's all these tricks. How did all the wool stay in there? Well, see these things here, folks? They're called pins. All right? Sometimes when you're busy and you get distracted, right now we could get a sheepo. Sheepo. So my man, Raymond, has to head away and fill up the pen. Comes running back and thinks, I've got to get this bale down. I've got a busy day. And starts winding it down and has forgotten about these. It's called pressing the pins. Sometimes they can end up just about in the bale, all right? You get so far and you've got such a bend on the pins and you can feel the weight coming on that you hear this bang, and that's where the pin's bent that much that it pops out. Okay, pressing the pins. It costs you a 24-pack of Spates or Tui, is it, Tuma? Tui or DB, whatever you prefer. So he's got to the stage, right. He's filled up the pen, the frying pan's just ticking away, there's still wool coming off, and he says, right, it's time to get this baby down. I've got to get to work. No need to go to the gym, ladies and gentlemen, when you're a presser, okay?
Jerry Woolhandling, Big 6. Michaela Raymond, Dee Langham, Charlotte Gratiana, and Billy Phillips. Once the wool has been taken away, you like to hop up and get your tables ready. Heat 7, Taylor Douglas, Tiana Phillips, Torpilla Barrett, and Kevin Little. They can be ready following this week's case.
Thanks very much, Nuki. Right. So now we've got all the wool squashed, okay? We've got it locked up. Those last little bits on a general, tomorrow, Raymond had it quite easy because he's got a soft bale. You might have his feet off the ground, swinging off it, okay? They get really, really strong muscles through here called the trunk muscles from this. Okay, they get a big line where their spine is and these two big muscles down their back. Trunk muscles, they become really strong. Right, so those pins are gone. Now we've got to get these pins in. And you're thinking, well, we don't want those pins in. Yeah, your cap is too low, buddy, you won't get them in. That's to hold the wool in so we can get that cap out of the way. And then, of course, we can put the staples in, all right? So this is how it still happens, okay? You're still going to end up, there's lots of different models and been lots of inventions over the years. I've been involved in what's known as the Edendale Crank-Up Day, which is not long finished. And we have, a vintage shearing competition where we have these old presses of when they...
Excuse me, Gerald. Can we have our shearers to the board? Okay, Gerald, back to you, mate.
Yeah, cheers, buddy. So a Donald press or a Reed and Grey, that'll make a few of your ears prick up. They were the ones that wound up and over. They didn't go up and round. You actually wound it up like that and bang, it would land on top of this one. You'd be a boom, 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 and it'd land flat. And it took two people, one on each side. Click, click, click. So lots of races in those days. I remember as a kid, my father had a combined farm with his brother, Brian Spain. And all of us kids were involved in shearing in some way, if we weren't just sleeping around in the wool somewhere. But we'd always wake up when it come to pressing the bale because it was a race between the two brothers. It was right, on your marks, get set, go.
Okay, Gerald, we're good to go here. Shearers to the board. Shearers to the board. Shearers to the board, guys. Timekeepers ready. Shearers, get set, go. Okay, we are on heat number 6 down here. Gerald, I'll get back to you in a little bit. We're just going to introduce these girls. We've got Michaela here on table number 1. Michaela from Tapanui. We have D from Pure Pure on table 2, Charlotte Clotiana, Masterton 3, Vinnie Phillips, one of the informed horses down there on table 4. Back to you, Gerald.
Thanks very much, Tuma. Yeah, okay, so we've got those pins in. Well, Raymond has, I haven't, I'm just talking about it. And now we're doing the staples, all right? These are the things that, if the wool goes under a big magnet, get pinged out, okay? So they don't become a contaminant in the wool, like the possibility of some baling twine, okay? So we staple it down. They like to keep their corners really nice and tidy, the presses that are, well, that's actually, I've got to go back to my story. So my father and his brother would bang the bale down, and that's how it was done, sort of in those days. Then these arrived, okay? These presses were like, wow, this is good going. We'll wind the box up. It's a one-manner. We've cut a lot of the workload down. One person can pull the bale down. So these were the latest model. They were brilliant things, okay? Then what happened is the hydraulic presses arrived, okay? Now, what Vanguards, they were commonly known as, Vanguard presses. And when you're a presser, you used to like them. Just the same as this, really, ladies and gentlemen, except for instead of Raymond's muscle power, all this stuff here he's got, he just goes bzzz, and the arms go up. And then when they're both up, he clips them in, and then he goes bzzz. Oh, it actually lifts the box up, and then it just pulls it down together. Boom, hydraulic. You've still got to jump in it to squash all the wool down, but all this here was taken away, okay? All this hard manual labour. Nowadays, ladies and gentlemen, it's no tramp presses, and I'll cover that over in a wee minute if we've got time. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. I think he deserves a round of applause. He's done this out of the goodness of his heart. He's an absolute great sportsman. Raymond Tooman / King. This is a bale wool, folks. This is what Tuma and me have been talking about. Where does that wool go? It ends up here. When it is in the wool store, a big robotic thing goes, psh, stabs the wool bale, pulls out a sample of wool. Here we go. Psh, sample of wool, psh, sample of wool, into a box. That's what the buyer sees. That's why wool handlers can never take the eye off the ball. Because if they get a bad bit, that's the sample. That's a representation of 200 bales of wool. And there's a bit of stain in it. Okay? But nowadays there is the no tramp presses. It's like a half box on top of the box where you stuff it all in, you pull a lever, it goes bang, squashes it down, 2 pins fire through, it goes bang, bang, and it's locked. It's got scales on it, folks, so you don't have to worry about where 200 is. Oh, I can take one more fleece, stuff it in there, bang, 199. That's what they're all sort of running on today.
Okay,
So
Gerald,
good.
down here we've got our fleeces about to hit the table. Michaela, oh, bit of overthrow there. Lovely throw on table number 3 by Lee. Looks like Shayla had a good throw down there on table 3, sorry. And we've got Vinay down there on table number 4. She's been really doing very, very well in the second shear shows leading up to the Golden Shears. I haven't seen her working on full wool, but I believe that she will be a very, very accomplished full wool handler as well. So these wool handlers working their way around the side. A little bit of pressure. These wool handlers, most of them had still had their fleeces on the table when that shearer finished.
Yes, I thank you very much, Raymond. Thanks for your time. And yeah, as I was saying, that will be a whole line of wool eventually. And tomorrow they will be weighed, okay? We'll name a weight.
Could we have Harriet Partridge, Emily Peterson, Hamiora Nicole, Sally Jackson, Sue Gala, and Bobby Winning. Please report in for the Novice Shearing, please.
We have the roll-up time going on down here. Michaela here, rolled up her fleece. Young D there, table 2. Charlotte, she's been there, done that. And down there, Vinny, you're a little wee bit behind. Vinny, you're not used to seeing Vinny being behind. So there, 1 minute 30, Gerald. From once the Woolhandling shearer pulls the cord, they need to be cleaned up. Then after that, 1 point per second. Michaela turns and throws. Not a bad throw there. Vinny looks like she's got a big one. She didn't want to risk losing all those points from throwing that fleece on the ground, so she just placed it on there nicely. So here we go. All these wool handlers, they'll start getting to their fleeces. Doesn't look like a lot of work to do on this fleece on table number 1, so Michaela shouldn't take too much time. Takes off the neck wool. So she'll push that wool over and then she'll start skirting the other side. So there looks like a lot of work in these fleeces. The odd fleece may have a little bit of rattle, so these wool handlers, they need to be alert. They need to be watching. We've got these judges up there watching them, just watching pretty much every move. If they overthrow, they have got time to retrieve, but if they carry on doing what they're doing, they are going to be in trouble. There's been a little bit of overthrowing as well, so these judges are really getting their eye in on that sort of thing. But here we go. Michaela's got her brim in hand. Charlotte's going to get her brim in hand shortly. Get in behind your favourite. I know Charlotte must have a lot of fun over here. Roll-up time down there on table number 4, Vinay. Ooh, Vinay didn't look like a very good roll, Vinay, but you can lose a lot of points out the back. Charlotte looks like she's the one with the best system in tidying up down there. She's doing very, very well. Michaela, she's down on her hands and knees, pulling out those longer bits. I think Charlotte might be the first to finish this looking. There we go. Well done, the local girl. Time down here on 1. Next heat, please, Nikki.
Junior Woolhandling, heat number 7. Kayla Douglas, Tiana Phillips, Torpia Barracliff and Heaven Little, please. Following them, we'll have Jono Hicks, Jade Reddy and Anna Samuels. Could we also have Himiora Nicole and Bobby Wehi, please report in for the novice shearing. If anybody knows where they are, could you let us know, please, as we have a big afternoon with the novice shearing. So that's Himiora Nicole and Bobby Wehi, please.
There'll be 3 heats of 3.
We have 10 heats of junior Woolhandling. So we're up to heat number 7.
Rural Woman New Zealand are the sponsor of this event. We'd like to thank the sponsors. What a huge event the Junior Woolhandling and the Novice Shearing and Novice Woolhandling was.
They're not coming? Or they're not here? Can I bring these shoes? Are they coming? No.
Okay, we have the green light. The basket's only just come out, so we'll give these wool handlers another 5 seconds.
Novice shearing thing and not coming.
Timekeepers ready. Shearers, get set, go.
All right, we've got 10 to do. This is heat 7. So they're going to get their nerves out of the way. Get that first belly sorted and get the body moving. You sort of can shake nerves off if you get their body moving. Feel like a nervous dog. Sometimes they can shake. And then they can get down to their work. So Kayla Douglas, the Danny Burke, Tiana Phillips, Tamara Nui, and Topia Barracliff from Poi Poi, and Heaven Little from Balclutha, down in the deep south, the mighty river, the Balclutha. That's how it rolls. So
Okay, Jill, just a little bit of whakapapa of this young girl on table number 1. Her name is Kayla Douglas. Hails from a place called Dannyburg. She was supposed to be at school today. Her geography teacher is not very happy. But I think Kayla's mother told her geography teacher to go jump in the lake. There's no better place to be than in the Golden Shears, the 60th anniversary, Jill, 2020. Her mother's sitting up behind me. She'll be a nervous wreck at the moment, but you'll be able to hear her in a minute once Kayla throws this fleece.
there we go. I think they're happy enough with that too. Back to the board they go. You know the old saying, tell me how to do something, I'll remember for a minute. Show me, I'll remember for about 5 minutes, but let me do it, I'll remember for a lifetime. Well, that's what's happening here right now. We're going to learn young. Let me have a go at this Golden Shears thing. Get these fleeces sorted now. You see the peripheral vision here from Kayla, thinking, she's watching out the corner of her eye. She might be really good at netball, good at sport. That vision where you can see, not just that tunnel vision, you can just see 2 or 3 things happening at once is a great art. It's a great sense. So Tiana leans right over, gets the belly. Well, this is table 2 now. Gets it all nice and clear. Onto the belly wall she goes. Yes, she's got to sort that too. That fribby stuff that Tuma's been talking about. Makes farm socks. Got to get that out of the way. That's neither is high quality wool, but one is better than the other. And this is, again, a few more little pence for the farmer. And that's how it rolls. Talking about the farmer, please, ladies and gentlemen, this is an incredible fibre, this wool. It's a natural fibre. It's an incredible insulator. It's a renewable resource. It has everything that today's world wants. So you've got to back it. You've got to buy the woolen singlet. You've got to buy the woolly jerseys. You've got to buy woolen carpet to support this industry. Okay, it's a brilliant fibre. It really does serve us really well. Out to the toenails the shearers go. Now the tables have to be clear. Oh, it's ruzzle-dazzle here now. Back they go. They've got the old shuffle going now, Tuma.
Well, just watching Kayla, she looks like she had a bit of a flaky fleece and she was too scared to throw it. I think it's probably not a bad thing to just place it on the table as best you can. Keep it all on the table so you're not bending down, skirting on the floor. But she's working away quietly. We've got Tiana there on table number 2. Tiana's been also very dominant in the North Island with the second shear. And this is the first time I've seen her work with the full wool. But she looks like she's quite at home there. Kayla Douglas skirted one side, looking around. Torpia Barracliff. He's one of the young ranked intermediate shearers at the moment. I think he spends a lot of time in the gym. I think he's a very good rugby player too, this young man there on table number 3. And Haven down there on table number 4. Don't know a lot about this young lady, but she looks right at home up there, Gerald.
Yeah, well, she's a bit of synchroniser, just having a look along these tables. Everyone's at the same stage. No one's made their way back to the table, but every table has the same amount of work done on it. Well, here we go. Douglas works her way back and says, well, if I'm going to miss school, I better make a go of it. Might be a speech in front of the assembly. How did I manage to pull that off? Well, there we go. The roll now. Starts at the bottom end, works her all the way up, and she's, holy smoke, I've got to get that wool there. I'll leave that. They're running. They'll run in the shed. They've got to. Those shearers get growly, the wool's not getting sorted. And we've explained why it needs to be sorted. We've explained why you can't afford to drop the ball. You can't take your eye off it. The buyer only sees a sample, and if it happens to be a bad sample, well then that's the representation. So they've got to be on their game every second of every minute of every hour of every day. Here we go. Throw it, Kayla. I get the call. Throw it. There we go. Super duper. Big loose flea for Tiana. But over the top. Back to the board. Now it's down to tables only for them all, and on to the fingers they go. Work their way around. Again, under the watchful eye of an incredible amount of people here. And more importantly, these judges with these clickers in their hand, and that's for the faults. You don't want to be creating faults. And don't panic when you might see a stream of faults arrive. It can be delayed action, okay? It's not like it happened right there. It can be delayed, all right? You think, oh, what happened right there? No, that could have been from before. But anyway, let's not talk about that, because what happened before is not going to get you on the top podium spot of the Golden Shears. It's what's happening right now. Living in the moment.
Come on, Kayla. Tight roll,
Come on,
tight
Kayla.
roll,
You want
tight
to
roll,
bring them
tight
home
roll.
to me. Here we
Come
go.
on, Kayla.
She's responding to the, come on, Kayla. That's the rattle and bang of the, Tiana says, okay, table, we don't want anything hanging on you anywhere. Up and around, under the legs. Topia says, it's sorting time in Heaven Little, all the way from Balclutha. She hasn't come up just to have a couple of drinks. I don't think she's down on her hands and knees sorting this wool. Holy smoke, it's game on. I've thought about this all season, the hand in there for Topia. Look at them go. They're working for this. That's time points. It could come down to that, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. Kayla's wrapped up as well. What a super heat that was. It can come down to a couple of time points whether you make the semi-final or not.
Junior Woolhandling Heat 8. Once the wall is won, could we have Jono Hicks, Jay Davey and Anna Samuels. Following them, Heat 9. Mickey Nancy, Conan Gray Harmon and Amy Bill. And Heat 10, Sylvia Dixon, Katie Reid and Kate Tawiki. Thank you. That's our 10 heats of junior wool. Just wait until the wool has gone, Jono, just so that they can just get it all judged. Thanks so much.
So we have Jono Hicks on table number one. Jono's been working out a little bit lately, and he's starting to burst these shirts to bits. We might have to see the committee about getting some reinforced T-shirts for this guy. We got Jade there on table number two. Local girl. And Anna Samuels on table number three. Lovely to see Anna here. She is the wife of the legendary Jimmy Samuels. So these young wool handlers, as they're getting up there, setting up their baskets, they'll be going through in their minds their the pattern that they have. Because once the shearer starts shearing, you don't want to be guessing. You don't want to have a guessing game, because you'll end up with wool all over the place and nowhere where it should be. So we got the green light. Jono's looking around. It looks like he's a little confused. Shearers, get set, go. Heat number 8. What a wonderful, huge amount of entries, Gerald. It's wonderful to see all these young budding wool handlers. The industry is in very, very safe hands. I wish we could say the same for the price of wool. The wool job has not been very good, and it's a real shame. It's a real shame. The most beautiful, renewable fibre. I know that you know Murray Henderson. He's brought a carpet shop, and he specialises in woolen carpets, and he is the second biggest distributor of woolen carpets in the North Island. So, you know, he's a Golden Shears finalist, Murray Henderson. So he's really getting in there and doing his bit to help out the wool industry.
Yeah, well, it's just literally that. You just buy this fibre for. There's lots of different things we're doing now on planet Earth. There's lots of us here, and this is a perfect fibre for what we're trying to achieve. And once again, I'm just going to reinforce. It's not all about just shearing the sheep for just the fibre. There's 95% of the reasons we shear sheep is for animal welfare, to make sure that they're not going to be too hot, they're not going to get stuck on their back, called cast, or if you're ever in Scotland, called coped. And then, of course, passed away due to, thirst and the like. So we take the wool off them so they don't get cast in a wee gully on the hill or something like that. Okay, so lots of, it has everything going for it. So please, if you can support it, please do so. Right, here we go. Let's support some of your favourites up here, ladies and gentlemen. Jono Hicks bundles it up. Gets those small little steps that he likes to take. He likes to keep a good centre of balance by just doing little wee steps here and there. Oh, it's a good one by Jade as well. He's bunched that one up and down. Anna Samuels from Martin says that'll do at the moment. She's not sure. She doesn't go to work flat stick on it. She just has a good look. But look at table 2 here. She is just toiling away around there, Jade.
I think she's showing a lot more urgency than this guy on table number 1. This Jade 80. Local girl too. Good to see such a big support from the local people here in Masterton. A lot of sheep in this area, a heavily sheep populated area. So here we go, Jono Hicks. He's the first one back to his fleece. Jono made the final last week at Apathy in the junior wool handling. So he'll be really wanting to make the semi-final here later on this evening. Now with the novice shearing guys, they're going to have a 3-heat semi-final. So all you novice shearers, they're going to hold a 3-heat semi-final this afternoon.
Well, that's good. I like those numbers. Yeah, well, if everything's been equal for Jono Hicks, of course, he always goes in the triathlon here. He's a great supporter of it. And really big on the pressing, of course. He's been in the final here about 3 years ago in the men's individual. And he gives us heaps there, but not full-time if he's still doing what he used to do. He's a primary school teacher, isn't he, over in, an hour's drive from here, Martin, isn't it? And, yeah, but he comes along to the Golden Shears and supports it. By Jolly does, and he's a great competitor, a great sportsman. Fleece been there, done. Jay, Brady says, if I'm allowed to swear, I'm bucker. That's what I say about that. Now you can see she can't get that run on. What's happened has happened now. That's the old story of water under the bridge. That is what it is. So now you've got to make the best of it. But she couldn't work out just what part was. Where's that neck wool gone? It's tucked under something, unfortunately. Well, she goes for obviously some rattle or some shed stain. Back to the shearer, they've got to go. Can you imagine doing this 8 or 9 hours a day, ladies and gentlemen? Because this is what they do. This is what they do for a living, most of them. In Jono Hicks' case, it's not. But this is their living, and they tour the world doing it. She's hard yakka. It's a hard, there's no give-me's in the shearing shed. I can tell you that right from the shearer to the presser to the wool handlers. Yeah, and they've got to work hard. Okay, wool handlers on an hourly rate, pressers on an hourly rate, and shearers on per head, how many sheep they shear. So they happen to come up against a shearer that's shearing lots of sheep in a day. They've got to work really hard. And it makes the day go fast, I must admit. But it's a big, big family. Once it's in your blood, you know, it's just there. There's lots of us, whatever you call, judges and the likes that are here, and we haven't shorn a sheep for 30 odd years, but it's in our blood too, and we love it. And we love coming along and helping out and supporting these shows and supporting all these great competitors. Here we go, another throw. Samuels, won't be too happy. A wee bit lying on both sides there. Jono Hicks goes back but cleans the floor now. From Martin, she says she starts in the same place each time, but she doesn't get too carried away about just going too deep on those fleeces. She's thinking, I just actually reckon that we just really do need just the fringes taken off here. I just get a gut feeling that we don't want to go too deep on these fleeces, taking too much off. She's got it.
Well, just watching this Jono Hicks, he's showing a lot of urgency. He knows it's 1 minute and 30 seconds, and then it's 1.5 seconds. So he's the one that's showing the most urgency at the moment. He's going to be the first one with brim in hand. Come on, Jono, get that fleece rolled up. We need it from bridge to shoulder, where it needs to be rolled up. Nice, tight, compact. Oh, this man, he knows how to roll a fleece. There you go, girls. He's showing you a thing or two. That's the man there on table one. Right, he's got to grab the brim. Come on, mate. Ooh, it took him a few tries to grab that broom. That held him up a couple of seconds. But here we go, broom in hand. Jade, she's about to get the broom in hand. Tries to break the table. Oh, she needs to get all the table, wool off the table. Jono Hicks reaches underneath the table. Oh, I think this young lady might be going to catch him. Who knows this Jade lady? They should be getting in behind her, support her. Let's catch this Jono Hicks. Anna Samuels from Martin down there, table number 3, trying to stay out of the radar. Jono, look at him, the urgency, the bounce. Is he going to be the first one to finish? I think he might be. That's the way, Jono, get on those knees, mate. Pray to the wool gods. Look around, has a look around. Well done, Jono. Well done, Jade, well done. Lovely job from Anna. Well done, wool handlers.
Pick number 9. Lee Hensey, Golden Shears, Amy Bell. In the final heat, hit 10, Sylvia Dixon, Katie Reid, Pat Tueki.
Could you come up to table 1, please? Miffy Hanson. Is she here by chance? Oh, there she is, thank you.
She's in cruise mode. Look at this, nice and relaxed. Okay. Once again, Rural Woman New Zealand are the sponsors here. So thank you very much for your continued support here at the Golden Shears. Green light, Tuma.
We have the green light. Shearers to the board. Wool handlers, when you get up here, to take a second to sweep the board so you can set up your baskets. Some just like a little more attention than others, I think, Gerald. Okay, timekeepers ready. Shearers, get set, go.
Oh, still getting the last minute adjustments as the shearers come out. Good. Cruise mode. You get all these different styles. It's what works for them. We'll see, you know, there's been a tremendous lady wool handler, Ronnie Goss. And she's the same sort of style, very relaxed style. Makes it look very easy. You feel very calm when you see her working your way. Anyway, Nehi Hansi got them round the wrong way from Masterton on one, and we're underway now. Conan Gray Harmon from Masterton as well. Conan the Barbarian, we call him. He likes to get on the press as well, folks. But here he is, and he'll be in the triathlon, but also going for a title here. So they're sort of wearing two hats in a way, okay? They're in the triathlon, but they also have a potential to win this event itself as a one-off, junior wool handler. So that's absolutely brilliant. And Amy Bell from Danny Verrick. So she's just going to catch that little bit of wool that Turma talks about that doesn't take any dye. So she's going to get the fleece all organised and sorted for the big throw. So is me here. She says, right, I'll tidy up that little bit of sock wool that's coming off, so my board's going to be reasonably clean when it's time to go. She's still just got that relaxed style, but she's got a very difficult fleece to throw. It's loose and broken, as you can see already. Conan's going to be the one from Masterton. Gives it heaps of air time. Oh, it's not a bad effort here on table one. That was a very difficult fleece to throw. You can see that from here as it started opening up, but managed to pull it off. Conan says, okay, to work I go. I'm with you, Gerald. I'm going for this title. I'm going to go for two here today. Well, over a period of days, actually. They've got to be fit to be here at the Golden Shears. Your recovery rate has to be really quick mentally and physically, because there's not a lot of downtime in between events. If you're going to be in the triathlon, you've got to shear a few sheep, you've got to press some bales and get rid of some wool and get it all sorted in the lights. Amy Bell, once again, back to that little bit of head wool, sorts up the pieces on the board. Pieces into little pieces, middle pieces and big pieces. That's how it rolls. Up and round the shearers go. The table's all sitting the same. Conan goes back. Mehe says, I'm not sure which basket to go. She has a bit of a swap round. Bit of second guessing there. Now she's back to the table on the far side. Bit of synchronised wool handling here. Table clear. Is she going to give it a big shakedown? Amy Bell. Nope, straight back to the shearer. She said it's clean enough for my next fleece to be thrown. It must be a clear table before they throw another fleece. But she says, where is that neck wool gone? Where is it? There it is, found it. Come over here. Right, sorting the fleece. Here we go, the other two, table one and table two, are going to have to make a quick dash. They haven't got as much time to prepare the fleece. Mehe says, holy smoke, she's all game on. Conan gives it heaps of air time once again. Mehe says, oh, here we go. We have to do a double pick-up too, and this is always difficult with a double pick-up with full fleece. You can do it, or you can get that bunching. It's hard to sit it and go again. But you can do it. There's nothing in it. It's like a piece of wool falling on the ground. Just because a good piece of fleece has fallen on the on the ground doesn't mean it's a contaminant now. No, you can just pick it up and put it in the appropriate basket if it's your main line. It just is what it is. So in that case, it's just more difficult because you've got to go for a double take, a double grab on the baby. Right, shearers again, Toomer, hitting the undermine as the wool handlers sort it for the shearer to step up and around and through.
Yes, that's right, George. You can lose a lot of points around the undermine. You got your sock wool, the short wool, there could be a bit of stain, maybe a bit of dags. On the odd time, maybe even a little bit of blood. And all of that wool is shorter and more discoloured than the main body wool. So if the shearer steps up and that short wool gets in with the belly, with the fleece wool, that's classed as a contaminant. And that way the wool handlers will get penalised. It all comes down to three major factors with wool handling. It's colour, length and contamination. We were talking a little bit earlier on about the wool around the head and the socks. It's a hollow fibre. It will not accept the dye. So those there have got their own special baskets. Look at this Conan. He's showing a lot of intensity up there. He runs back to his shearer. Once the shearer finishes, they have 1 minute and 30 seconds. Conan turns and throws. Oh, didn't quite have it set up on the board properly, and that's what happened there. Young Amy Bell gives that a little bit of air time. You'll see some of these wool handlers, they all have different techniques. Some of the wool handlers will actually throw the fleece at the tip of the table, at the top, and then they'll pull it back. Whereas others will let it go, get a lot of air time, as you say, Gerald, and it'll land like a feather. So we've got Mihi, she walks back to her table, to the board, grabs that fleece. This fleece doesn't look like it's going to throw too bad. Oh, got a little bit stuck at the top. We've got young Amy Bell down there on table number 3 from Dannevirke. She's got the broom in hand. 1 minute and 30 seconds is the sealed time. Then after that, it's 1 point for every 5 seconds. So if you are too far behind, you're going to lose a lot of time points. But if you don't do the job properly on the board, then you're going to lose a lot of points out the back. You know, so it's one of these double-edged swords. If you don't get it right in one place, you're going to pay for it at another. So here we go. Broom in hand for Conan. Amy Bell up there. She's down on her hands and knees. There we go. Well done from Amy. Conan's there. He's got the broom in hand. As you're saying, Gerald, you know, we've seen young Conan in the pressing for many years now. He's shearing wonderfully too. He's been shearing at the shows. Very relaxed young man, awesome little shearer. There we go. Well done, Conan. And Mihi's here. She's going to have the last say, Gerald.
Yep, she's going to have that. She turned up. Nothing's going to hassle her. She's doing her job. Back to the board she goes. She knows it's going to be clean. These points to be lost there. At the moment, she's got to make that call of leaving a really clean job in between the time points itself. And she's saying, well, I'm just going to do a good, clean job. No harm in that. Quality first. Time will do its thing. She's sorting it's a good example here of sorting the pieces. Okay, see the big ones naturally sort of come to the top. Okay, and you keep on shaking it and you'll get down to the little fluffy little things. A bit like gold panning in a way, isn't it? You keep sleuthing away there and you eventually end up with these little fluffy bits. She hasn't got much to get tidied up now. The gold pan is about done and she says, got the shirt, been there, done that.
Heat number 10, last heat of the Rural Women New Zealand Junior Wool Handling Heats. If we can have those wool handlers to the board now, they may get up and start sweeping their boards down. It looks like everything's been judged. So Sylvia's on 1, Katie Reid 2, Kat is on 3. Phil Morrison to the microphone desk, please. Phil Morrison. So 2020 is the year, Gerald. Last heat of the junior wool handling, and then we're going to roll in with the novice shearing. There's a huge amount of novice shearers. One young novice shearer that's really caught my eye is a young boy, Hamu. He came out and did a few days with us.
Following this will be the first heat of the novice shearing, and they are Evelyn Bertha, Tara Hura, Cody Daggett, Savannah King, Emerson Osborne, Penny Wilson. That was the first heat of novice shearing. Heat 2, Lily Bell, Ben McDonald, Emmy Martin, Wairarapa Walker, Bigger Hughes, and Jasmine Cook. That's the first 2 weeks following this of the novice shearing. Could you all please make sure in the novice shearing that you are ready to go? We have a lot of competitors to get through in the novice shearing. Okay, so now over to you.
Well, we have the green light. Can we have our shearers to the board, please? Timekeepers ready. Shearers, get set, go. Well, in our timetable, we said we have that we were supposed to be finished by 2:30, but they only had us down for 7 heats. This is heat number 10. It's 2:45, so we're not going too bad, Gerald. Well, we have Sylvia Dixon. Sylvia's from a little place just up the road called Ekitahuna. Sylvia's been around the shows doing a few here and there, made a few finals. And she's got a couple of boys that'll be in the shearing a little bit later on. We have Katie Reid. Katie Reid's from Scotland, but I think the shearing's getting a bit too hard for her, so she wants to be a wool handler now. I'm not sure. I better talk to her husband. And we've got Kat down there from Levin, just over the other side of the hill. So this is the final heat, 10 heats, Gerald. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, high quality heats too they were. Yep, right from the word go. Had that buzz about it when we walked in here at quarter to just about 12 o'clock that everyone was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and ready for the challenge at hand. So the shearers hit the long blow, so all that body wool, and Kat says, yeah, we know the rules with the judges. We can't be doing skirting on the board, so she just takes a step back and lets the shearer do his thing, and now we start sorting the fleece. Gives it a wee roll over. We've got to get it lined up. You'll see they bend their knees. You'll see that by Sylvia here, Dixon, bending their knees, just getting good position and using your body as well as a bit of a trap for this wool not to get away. Bit of bunching at the top, but in general, pretty good just there. Katie Reid, ear time. Flicks it. There we go, all the tables are full now. The shearers arrive out, no mucking around. They had to get back and get the floor clean, otherwise it'll be wool away. The old heel of the moccasin will be, get that wool out of the way, please, darling. We've got work to do. It's a real sheared atmosphere here, or sheared duplication. Now look at the eyes of the wool handlers. They're looking. They've got to watch the wool that they're pulling out, but they've got to watch the shearer as well as they go dashing back now for the last and final heat. Here we go. They've got to go for the semi-final. Top knots are off. Wool tables sitting there full and only half done at this stage. Look at them go. Sorting, looking, thinking, what basket? Where did I throw those second pieces before? Where were they? Oh, they're over there. Oh, whoops. Now I've got 2 lots. Okay, there's all those things happening. This is a real shed style. It's not just for the Golden Shears. We have all these baskets sitting around the place. This is what they set up in a shed. It's, of course, magnified. It's, more like a fadge wall and a fadge holder instead of a little basket because we're dealing in large numbers. But it's very, very similar to a shed situation. The only thing different is it's me and Tuma talking at the moment instead of the big ghetto blaster pumping out some Credence Clearwater Revival. Okay, some big sounds will be pumping away, and the Hunt Away will be out the back barking and carrying on, and the press will be banging away, and the shearers will be yelling out sheepo and black wool and rattle and all these sorts of things, and these things happening left, right and centre. Here we go, we're starting to hyper up on the last and final heat here, folks. But hang in there for Katie Reid, this Scottish girl. Marvellous people, the Scottish. The times of the years I saw over there, they treated all the Kiwis like kings, so they did. We had a great time. Great folk. Anyway, as I mentioned earlier, she's a twofold. Once upon a time, it was all one-way traffic. It was the Kiwis going around the world. But not nowadays. It's both ways, and it's needed, to be honest with you. Now it's around the fertiliser works, Tuma. Let you come in here. The top knots are gone. They've got to get that wool. That's that wool that must come out, of course.
We're just watching these shearers. They're putting some very, very good pressure on these wool handlers. These shearers are just finishing and the wool handlers are having to run to the board. That's how it should be. Just looking in the program, it says that we'll be taking 8 through to the semi-finals, but that might change, Gerald, because of the huge amount of entries. But that's up to the committee's decision. But here we go. We've got the third and final fleece on the board. Sylvia. See Sylvia down here on table number 1. She's taken out a lot of wool. I'm just wondering if that's not maybe a bit of seed. It might be full of thistles or something like that. So that's these decisions that these wool handlers are making. There has been a very, very dry season up here in the North Island, the lower North Island. So it wouldn't surprise me if that's a lot of thistles, and they call it VM, vegetable matter. So here we go. Sylvia's just cleaning off her table, running back to her shearer, Katie Reid. You'll see her shearing a little bit later on. Not a bad throw there from Kat. A little bit of bunching up the top, a little bit of overhang. Katie Reid sets her fleece up. Let's see what Sylvia does. That doesn't look like a very good fleece to throw, so Sylvia's probably done the right thing and thrown it so it just lands on the table. So you'll see Sylvia, she's got a different setup to Katie Reid there on table number 2. She cleans her board first, and then she starts working on the fleece. That fleece actually looks a little wee bit shorter if you have a good look at it, Gerald. Looks a little wee bit shorter than these other fleeces.
Yeah, I'm with you. I thought it was a very good idea. She literally just sort of sat it there. Thought, well, these are my best options. Okay, to lower my risk of a big mess up, if that's what you want to call it. But like health and safety, how do I lower my risk, or make it a medium risk instead of high, or make it or eliminate the whole thing totally? At this stage, she sat it down. She's going to have to make a go of it. It is what it is now. She goes in for the roll. Katie's on the broom. Kat's on the broom. Sylvia Dixon. Once again, thank you so much to the sponsor. Rural Women in New Zealand. They have had a sensational event here that's went on for 10 heats now. What a great event to be involved with. They're making those brooms talk. Here we go. They've got the old twinkle toes going. They're on their toes. No time to be on your heels here. That means you're going backwards. Take off the revision mirrors and get into it. Looking forward only. Here we go, they're down on their knees. Sylvia says, that's it. I've come in with a big belated finish there, ladies and gentlemen, like Kiwi the racehorse. Then Kat's all wrapped up. Katie Reid says, holy smoke, where'd you come from, you Kiwis? Oh, and she throws a hand in there too. Whoa, super duper stuff. That's it, ladies and gentlemen, that's sensational. We're on to the shearing now, Tuma. That's we'll invite in John McBride and Norm Haraway and Kerry Irvine to commentate through there. It's been an absolute pleasure the last couple of hours for myself to be commentate to you guys and girls and the likes. and we'll catch you in another 2 or 3 years' time. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon here.
Well, Doug, that's the end of the wool handling, the novice and the junior wool handling. I think there was 12, 14 heats all up. Some fierce competition out there. There'll be some disappointed ones and some who are feeling pretty happy on things. But it has been a brilliant first step for these 2020 Golden Shears. The stadium is full, and if you've got some of that high speed